Good evening, this is Untitled. So this is a quick video just explaining how the supply and demand indicator actually works. Many of you have been asking me a lot of questions surrounding the actual indicator itself and its usability. And I'll be walking you through basically how to install it. Once you've installed it, I'll be showing you exactly how to kind of use it and basically taking it from there. So the first thing I want to do is obviously log into my computer. So I mean, many of you guys would have be using a PC, etc. I'm using a VPS for the sake of this tutorial. So I'm just going to log into it through here. Once that is connected, just give it a second. We are in. I've actually got the supply and demand indicator loaded up already. So you would have received a Google Drive link. If you have received a Google Drive link, it will be something where it will contain all of your files when it just loads. Here we go. You've got templates folder and you've got MQL folder, so MQL4 folder. So the first thing we're going to look in is obviously the template folder. What you want to do is right click, copy, and then you're going to paste this in to your templates folder. Okay, so that's file, open data folder. From here, you want to go down to the templates folder here, and then you can right click and paste that anywhere. So yeah, and then paste. All right, awesome. Now I want to make sure that I can grab a few other files. So I'm just going to head back, go into MQL4, go into experts, and then we're going to do the exact same thing, right click and make it and go over to copy, and then go back to your broker, or should have the file still open from the templates. Just go back off the templates, and then you want to go to MQL4, experts, and then we're going to right click and paste. Just here and paste. Then we can go back and put the indicators in next. So we go back to the original supply and demand folder. We want to go back, we want to go to indicators, and then we want to grab all three of these, which will be the last files we'll be taken because we don't need any other files from this folder. So we're going to make sure we want to click it first. There we go. Hold, copy, and then obviously you can back out of this, or you can hit close. Go over to indicators, and then we're going to right click and then paste. Okay, so those are the last files that you need to get this EA under, or I should say this indicator underway. You want to make sure that you select an asset, so you can go over to your market watch. Just use the sterling or GBP USD. We're going to hit open chart window, and then we're going to maximize this to the full window, and then we're going to simply now start extracting tools over, or extracting the the experts and indicators over. Now there's a bit of a shortcut here, so you can go to Navigator, which is this yellow folder with the star on it. Click on that, and then here is when you want to hold, wait for the options to pop up, or say right click for many of you using a mouse, and then hit the word refresh. This will then load all the EAs, all the indicators we've just put in the folders directly into this Navigator. So let's wait for it to load back up again. Just give me literally a few moments whilst it sorts itself out. Okay, we're back, and let's get rid of that market watch because we no longer need it. And let's scroll down until we find supply and demand, or there we have it here, matrix. Okay, so we've got that. All you want to do is double click. We've come up, common, allow, modification of settings, inputs. You can use any symbol list on here. For example, let's type in the GBP USD. So we separate that always with a comma. So I need to get my keyboard up, which is going to be a task and a half for this. Maybe something I'll save for the next time, but this will be obviously GBP USD. So you put GBP USD in there. You obviously can change the time frames here, so you can put the time frames that it will allow to have. You've got stuff like the 1 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, weekly, and then monthly time frames. These are the best zones to kind of particularly look at, especially when you're trading supply and demand, especially from a kind of swing trading perspective or a position trading perspective. Then you can alter stuff like, got a few other parameters to mess around with, like your lot sizes, risk to reward ratio, so you can kind of mess about that, and obviously you can save your pictures with one click. So very easy stuff, very kind of ABC. I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to head over and click OK on this, and then I'm going to actually get rid of this. Okay, wait for this to load, and then we're going to back out of that. Let's go down here. There we go. There we go. And next we're going to grab our indicators. Okay, so you can see the matrix, and get rid of that. There. See the indicators here and here. Over here in our folder. And then we want to go down to, so this is the matrix here, guys. Okay, so you have two sets of the matrix. Obviously this is displaying the the Aussie dollar, which is AUD USD, and the Euro USD, which is the Euro, obviously the Euro as we call it. You can see here, these are made up of different numbers. And why are they made up of numbers? Well, let's first explain that this MN simply means that it's monthly, weekly, daily, H4 and H1. When it's grey, I'll just explain firstly when it's red. Okay, so you've got red supply zone here. Let me just put on the indicator so it makes more sense when I'm actually explaining this. So I'm just going to go ahead and load up the Max Pro SD, which is supply and demand. Double click on that. I'm happy with the parameters on that. I'll just click allow here. Inputs, I don't believe there's any. If you want to, so for example, these parameters here, if you want to show a number of how much levels of supply and demand you actually want to show, you can show 5 supply or 5 demand. That's kind of max I'd recommend. I mean, it's preset. You can extend that to more by just double clicking on the actual number and then inputting the amount of supply and demand zones you actually want to see. We can actually draw potential zones, so that means it'll forecast into the future. What particular zones or what potential zones, just to say, that would be kind of drawn as a potential supply or a demand zone. So you can kind of set, pre-existing sell limits and buy limits. So we'll set that to true, and then we're going to head over to OK. And then now you can see slight change in our chart. You can see a few white dots, and you can also see there's a lovely supply zone there. Now I'm just going to shift my chart slightly to the left. That's better. And I might actually change my time frame, so I might change to like a H4 so we can get more zones in. So you can see it's made up of around 3 to 4 or 3 supply zones. We've got 1 demand zone down there at the bottom. So next thing I'm going to do is now show you the Max Pro trend line, to the TL we call it, 37A. You can double click on that. All this simply does is determine trends within the chart, so it will determine trend lines and draw them automatically for you. Obviously the parameters here, or draw trend line, which is set to true. Trend signal, we can obviously set to true as well. Trend signal is a little arrow that's placed down here. It will show the actual trend for the actual time frame that you're on, and obviously the trend line will be just the kind of trend line that you'll see on the visual chart. So I'll just click OK and show you what I mean by that. So here's the trend line, okay, and this is the actual position, or I should say the actual trend of the actual chart itself, the actual time frame itself. So I hope that makes sense. Now the next thing I want to show you, so let me get out of here. I'm actually happy with that. Is explained in this guide here. Now this is a mini matrix. You can actually have a matrix on a complete different asset class. So for example, if I load one up here, if I go to Market Watch and I was just chose a random asset such as Euro USD, and then I hit over on chart window, open up a fresh chart, we can close this back down. We want to head back into, actually no we're not, we're going to right click and hold, and then we're going to go over to our template section which we loaded earlier. Okay, and then we've got stuff here called the, we've got the supply and demand, which will load up your supply and demand, 37A and 38A, obviously trend line, and obviously the supply and demand. We should preload it onto the chart on a blank chart. So let me just show you just for easy sake. There we go. So you've got that, okay, and it's loaded with the kind of Euro USD, the monthly, weekly, daily, H4, H1, just from a simple template folder. Now if I go back over to the Market Watch and let's try the USD CAD, we go over to the chart window, and then we click X here, and then you're going to right click, head over into the templates folder, and then we're going to click 38A. Let's click that. You can see it as well. So you can see the zones here. Let me just show you the difference. Let's go to Euro USD. Okay. Then you can see over here with the USD CAD. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Now I'm going to explain to you a few bits and pieces. I feel I can do it here, but let me just first do one more thing, and I'm going to actually just grab the matrix. So I'm going to load up the Aussie dollar, open up a chart window, and then obviously just click X. Now we're going to load up in our matrix, so we're actually going to put the matrix on, which is over here, and oh, there's one other thing I thought that would be very, very useful as well, before I even get into that. Let's head back over to our original chart, which was the GBP USD. We've actually currently got this on at the moment. Let's put on the expert advisor itself. So this indicator actually comes with an expert advisor. Obviously it's semi-automated, it means you have to have some type of input within it, but once that input's done, you're pretty much okay. Yep, that's fine. So look, again, because we're trading the GBP USD on a H4 time frame, doesn't matter the time frame actually, to be honest with you, but because we're on this actual asset, you want to add it into this block here, or to this parameter here. So you would put GBP USD separated by commas. Once that's done, you can obviously alter time frames if you want. I prefer to leave them as, the H1, H4, D1, W1 and MN. These are simply translated in minutes. Next thing I wanted you guys to see is okay, so the lot sizes. So explain to you how this works. So if I just load the asset on, so I load the expert advisor on to the actual chart, click OK, and then get rid of this, and then want to put back on the indicators, which will make complete sense because we want to see the zones. So this should have been done the other way around. Nevertheless, I'm still showing you how it works. Draw potential zones. Yes, we'll click. We want that set to true. And then we hit OK. And then we can obviously put trend lines in if we want. And then we just click OK on here. Then let's click the X on this tab here. Right, now if for example you wanted to trade from a zone, so if you want to sell, you put your sell limits and your buy limits within the kind of chart itself, you can do that with this indicator. So it comes with the expert advisor, which I said was semi-automated. What and how you do this is simply by dragging and dropping arrows. So if we wanted to sell out of this supply zone, we'll get the arrow down, drag it, whoops, there we go. I think I may have grabbed the wrong one here, so let's, oh no, I'll grab the right one, hold on, let's just get rid of that. Let's get another arrow, there we go, arrow down, and then we want to click into this actual supply zone. It's going to confirm or ask you to confirm the GBP USD sell limit at 13034. Lot size is obviously 0.1 lot. So it will actually put a sell limit in this area for you if you simply drag and drop arrows. Okay, so I'll do that again for you for buy. So this is for sell, and you click OK. You can see your parameters for your stop loss is just above the high here. Okay, so this is pending order, so that means it's a limit. You've got the sell limit actual feature here, so you've got the actual ticket here itself, the position here itself, so it's waiting to be triggered, so waiting for price to come back up into the supply zone and to be triggered for a short sell. And then you've got your take profit, which is at the nearest support zone from what I can see. Next thing obviously I want to show you again is the buy limits. So if I wanted to buy out of this demand zone down here at the kind of the blue area, which you guys can see at the 1.272 level, I'll just click the arrow up, take that arrow up, place it or drop it or drag it into this area here. Just waiting. Didn't think that did it properly. Let's try again. So arrow up. There we go. So you can see my existing one there, which didn't work, but you see here now it's asking you to confirm the buy limit at this particular level. You click OK. Again, you can see, let's stretch this out so you guys can see. Hope you guys can see very well. You've got your SL, which is your stop loss parameter. You've got your buy limit just on the brink here, waiting to be triggered. So price comes down, it triggers, and then obviously you've got to take profit here. Now, these parameters are completely configurable. That means you can kind of adjust the risk to reward ratio on many of these. So let's go back into the settings of the expert advisor. So you just go here, go to expert advisors and head over into properties. Then obviously you want to make sure, again, if you are trading particular assets or certain assets, be sure to add it to the list, which is here, symbol list. Okay, so if this is GBP/USD, you can add it to this list and obviously it will trade off of it. Now, if you want to change the lot sizes, you can change that here, double clicking, and then you can obviously alter the lot size. If you want to change the risk to reward ratio, so that means you're risking, is it 3-to-1 or 3-to-0 or 4-to-1, etc. That means you're risking 1 to make 3 back on a trade. That will adjust your stop losses and your take profits for you, or you can do that manually yourself. Okay, so I'm going to hit cancel on that. Next thing I want to show you, don't let this video run over too long, so the next thing I want to show you is how to use the matrix. Now, for this example, I'm going to actually go back over to our Aussie dollar chart. I'm now going to head over into the navigator, and I'm going to now head into, when I can find it, okay. Actually, no, this is what you're going to do. You're actually going to right click, head over into templates, and then obviously you've got the matrices right here. So let's click on 37A. Then you can kind of see exactly what's happened, in terms of obviously trends, etc. You can see the asset classes, etc. And then obviously when I want to, for example, load a different set, so we did load our 3 presets earlier, you just hold on to here. You want to make sure that you go back in, trying to wiggle this round and round, properties, then load, wait for that to happen. Then we want to go over to our set files, Okay, and you can see some of them have been altered. Now, there's some, I mean, they're not that important to be perfectly fair. I mean, the vendor doesn't really go into much detail about it, but there are presets there. And I mean, you can have a jiggle about with it and see what kind of which works for you. However, I kind of like what's preloaded on the screen already. Now, before I loaded this, you would have noticed that everything was pretty much filled up, just a bar few. Now, what these red and blue and grey rectangles are showing you, okay, so let me go back to the chart. See that we've got blue, which indicates our demand zones, and we've got red, which indicates our supply zones. Now, all the matrix does is show you those blue demand zones and those red supply zones. Okay, very, very, very simple, very, very easy to think about, and very easy to do. You've got the trends within here as well, so you can see the GBP USD is on a steep downtrend from its monthly time frame all the way through down to its kind of 1 hour time frame, where it's predominantly been going down every so often. The percentages, how the vendor explains it is simply, as the lower the percentage, okay, the higher probability the supply or demand zones work. Okay, so that means if this is on a particular downtrend, this percentage, okay, has to be low as well for these zones to actually work. I wouldn't get too wrapped up in that, but it's just a little kind of confirmation for you guys that don't know much predominantly about supply and demand trading. We've also got stuff like the bar count. So these numbers here to the right hand side, like 1795, etc., are the amount of bars that's, you know, from that level. So let's click on this so it makes complete sense to you guys. I don't want to leave anybody in the dark or anything like that, so just give me a second, and we'll load up a chart. There we go here. Or here, so you can see 15 is in this little box here, 15 bars. This is how the, you know, the vendor has explained it. There's 15 bars that, you know, that's coming to this level, and obviously now come back away from level, but from what I'm looking at, it doesn't actually look like it has. You are going to see a lot of S's and D's within the zone. So obviously S's represent supply, which has been activated, demand, which has been activated. You can see it being kind of grayed out, which no longer makes them valid. Obviously that's for the Euro USD. Of course, we've got the USD CAD. Same thing on the monthly time frame, where it's been completely grayed out. It means these zones are no longer valid. However, you've got the kind of red, which indicates supply, and demand, which are quite valid, and the percentage is quite low, so more likely to get a kind of uptrend, although the market's downtrending at the moment. So it's a bit of give and take, I would say. Other than that, I feel that I have explained pretty much everything in terms of obviously how this indicator works. A very useful feature here with regards to the supply zone itself, and obviously how you're able to kind of drag and drop your arrows for buying and selling, which is, I thought, was a really, really handy feature to have. I also like the trend line feature as well. That's also, you know, kind of inbuilt into this kind of indicator, but it's meant to serve as a guide, guys. It's not meant to be kind of a foolproof system. As with any system, you know, there is certain elements of trading that I highly recommend learning before you go into kind of supply and demand trading. It's not to say it's hard, but it's not exactly easy. Making sure that you equip yourself with the right, you know, education, such as learning the fundamentals, learning technical analysis, so you can interpret what candlesticks and bars actually mean. And then obviously you can trade these zones much more efficiently, rather than just saying you're going to buy and sell wherever you see, you know, blue and red. You want to make sure that you understand what price is actually telling you. You want to make sure that you can interpret, you know, fundamental news with a high degree of accuracy. You know, these are things that you really want to kind of put into the mix or think about before you want to risk your hard-earned cash in the forex markets or any type of markets, whether that's indices, commodities, etc. It all makes sense. So again, guys, just to kind of recap, look, this tiny number here represents the amount of bars till this zone here. Okay, so till it gets to this zone, 35 bars. 12 bars. These zones have been graded out, which are no longer valid, so that supply zones are no longer valid. However, this demand zone is. And obviously you've got the trends, or trend symbols actually within the actual matrix itself here on the side chart. This is for the Euro USD. Again, you can change these. I have shown you how. Just recap or go back to the video. I think is the first 10 minutes of it and me explaining. Showed you exactly how to kind of input your additional assets, so you can get more assets if you prefer that on the chart. If not, you can obviously just use the matrix here, and obviously you can kind of see everything as is. In terms of obviously numbers, I believe here as well you might have spreads. I might be wrong with that, but again, much more to explore. And obviously you can take it into your own court, take it into your own hand. Here we go, we've got the spreads here. I can see them changing right here, so you can see the tiny little numbers here which represents the spreads. But any questions, feel free to message me and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Other than that, take care and enjoy your week.